Investigation here at the Hollywood Transit Station. The information I have right now is preliminary, but I'm going to provide as much information as I can. Roughly around 5 o'clock this evening, reports came in of a stabbing and disturbance on a MAX train here at the Hollywood Transit Station. Officers arrived, medical personnel arrived, and as they were arriving, they learned the suspect ran southbound into the neighborhood, was being followed. Officers went to that area and took the suspect into custody over near Providence Hospital. Officers at the platform went down onto the train. They found one male victim suffering from traumatic injuries. They attempted life-saving measures there on the train, but they were unsuccessful. That victim died here at the scene. 2 additional stabbing victims were located and immediately transported by medical personnel. One of those victims, when they arrived at the hospital, also passed away. The 3rd victim is at the hospital being treated. He is suffering from what are believed to be non-life-threatening injuries. They're doing a lot of tests to make sure he's okay, but he is expected to survive. Preliminarily, talking to witnesses, what we've learned is that this suspect was on the train and he was yelling and ranting and raving a lot of different things, including what would be characterized as hate speech or biased language. In the midst of his ranting and raving, some people approached him, appeared to try to intervene with his behavior, and some of the people that he was yelling at, they were attacked viciously by the suspect, resulting in the 2 deaths and 1 injury. We do know that there were folks that left the scene, obviously incredibly scary for people that were there. So those witnesses we need to hear from and talk to. 2 in particular that we were told were on the train that may have been directed. Some of the speech that he was yelling were 2 younger girls believed to be Muslim. One was wearing a hijab, and they apparently left before police arrived. We would like to identify them as witnesses and victims of his behavior. His speech was, again, characterized, he was talking about a lot of different things, not just specifically anti-Muslim. We don't know if he's got mental health issues. We don't know if he's under the influence of drugs or alcohol or all of the above. Right now, we're in the very early stages of the investigation. The homicide detectives are here, the medical examiner is responding, and we expect to be here for some time. The platform's closed and will remain closed for several hours. Trains are completely shut down in both directions and will be for several hours as well. At this point, there's no danger to the community. The suspect is in custody, thanks to witnesses that called 911 and reported his direction, and it's a quick response by officers.
So witnesses say that he was acting erratically, obviously, on this train. What about when he was taken into custody? What was he like?
I don't have any information on that part of it. I'll get that a little bit later.
Pete, you've been doing this a long time. I mean, you can hear it in your voice. This is troubling.
It's horrific. And there's no other word to describe what happened today. For the victims, our thoughts and prayers are with their families. And we haven't identified them yet. For the witnesses who witnessed this, there is no other word. It is simply awful.
If this turns out to be, I don't know if you're going to classify it as random, since there might have been some hate involved, but this potentially is the 4th random attack in the last few weeks. People on social media are chattering about, is it even safe to leave the house anymore? I mean, what do you say?
Well, with this incident, we're obviously in the early stage of the investigation. It does not appear the suspect and victims had any relationship or knew each other. Again, it appears preliminarily that the victims were, at least a couple of them, were trying to intervene in his behavior and de-escalate him and protect some other people on the train when he, viciously attacked them. As far as some of the other events, unfortunately, each one of them is unique and has their own circumstances. By and large, Portland's a very safe city. This will be the 8th and 9th homicides of the year. All that said, we understand people's concerns. We understand people's fears, and things like this are not going to help that. We'll be working with both TriMet and the respective agencies on transit police, as well as all of our precincts, to get people out and about because people need to feel safe.
Can you tell us more about the suspect, about how old he is? Does he have a record? Is he known to police? What his race is?
I don't know that we've positively identified him yet. He is a white male, somewhere 20 to 40 probably. Beyond that, we don't know yet. We'll know more of that once we get into the investigation. Again, with the victims, we haven't identified them either, other than they're 3 males.
Any sense that any part of this was planned? Maybe not the stabbing, but that he went on this train to attack people. A lot of people asking if this has anything to do with Ramadan. Any sense that it was planned?
Unclear. That'll be part of the investigation to determine his mindset and did he have a plan, or was this a person who snapped or was under the influence and armed with a knife? It is Ramadan begins at sundown, and of course our thoughts are with the Muslim community as something like this happens. This only instills fear in that community. We have already reached out previous to this incident to our Muslim community partners and the different imams about extra patrol during Ramadan. We want to reassure them that will continue. This appears at least to be an isolated incident based on what we know at this point.
How young were the girls this hate speech was directed at? You said young women. Are we talking teenagers? Are we talking 20s?
At this point, we don't know. They're described to us as young women, so we're going to do some further investigating. Certainly look at video that is on the train. We haven't obtained that yet, but would assume that's there, and we may have a better idea. I'm sure, and everybody's sure, that they and other people that left the scene were scared out of their minds, and absolutely reasonably so. What we want them to hear now is that things are safe. We need to hear from them. We need to hear their perspectives on what happened.